right, so now I want to kind of dive into a little bit about what happens on the insurance side of things, like what happens behind the scenes in the insurance world when you open up a claim. And I'm going to give you a disclaimer here before you dive into this video too much. This is not intended to degrade any insurance companies or any of their processes. This is just the reality of the insurance world. And so it just kind of helps us prepare for it and know what to expect. Okay. So the first thing I want to dive into is that an insurance is a for profit business. Okay. So they do need to protect their own assets. So their name of their job is to take on risk. So in order to do that, they need to find a way to mitigate a lot of that risk. That's why you see premiums go up over time. You see policy changes over time. So it's just because they are a business whose sole job, sole reason for being around is to take on people's risk. So in order to stay profitable, they need to find a way to hedge that risk somehow in some way. So don't be surprised when things change over time. That's just the way it works. That's the nature of the business. Okay. The other thing that I want to point out is one of the ways that insurance companies do make money is through investments. It's not that you give them money every single month and you tell them, hey, I really hope you don't have to give this back to me. And they're like, yeah, sure, I absolutely agree. They're not putting that in their back pocket or in their bank account and hanging on to it for a rainy day or for when a storm comes. They're investing that. They're going to invest that money, and while your money is sitting with them, they're going to accumulate more wealth based on the investments that they have. That's just how the insurance world works. And the longer that those investments can stay active, the more money that can stay in there for a longer period of time, the more return they actually get. Okay, so keep that in mind, because there are times where insurance companies will try to sort of seemingly drag their feet a little bit or drag out the process a little bit. And it could be, I'm not going to get all conspiratorial here, but it could be because they want to actually accumulate a little bit more wealth from their investments. Now, having said that, there are insurance companies that they have their own internal policy where they have to get done with the claim as soon as possible. They have to work through it as soon as they possibly can. Okay, so you've got both sides of the coin there. There are pros and cons to both sides. Okay, the pros that taking a little bit longer is that we've got a little bit more time to plan. We got a little bit more time to identify if things are missing. Okay, the pro to the quick side is that we can get through the claim a little bit faster. You can get a new roof a little bit faster. You don't have to worry about it degrading. You don't have to worry about having literally the thing that's keeping your entire house and your biggest asset dry and in good shape is deteriorating. You don't have to worry about that as much because you can get through that claim a little bit faster. The downside to an insurance company that takes a long time is that again, the opposite of what in the other scenario, right, is that you're sitting there with this damaged piece of equipment on your house that's literally protecting your entire house, your likely biggest asset, and it's taking a long time to get that done. The downside to a quick claim, getting through quickly, is that you don't really have as much time to really dive into all the details and make sure that everything is all covered. Sometimes we got to get in and get out. So there's pros and cons to both sides. So having said that, and just getting that out of the way, I want to say that most of the time an insurance process can take a little bit longer than you might want it to, a little bit longer than you might expect. And the more trades that you have in that insurance claim, the longer it's going to take to get everything done. Okay, it is a construction process. It is getting covered by somebody else for the most part, and so they want to make sure that everything is going to be accurate and get done correctly. So that process can take a little bit of time, and most of the time it does. Okay, so what happens is you open up that claim, insurance sends out their inspector, they take a bunch of photos, and they take all those photos and they send it back in to the claims department, or the just the desk adjuster is what they're called back at the insurance agency, and they just kind of look over all of the photos that were taken, and they make their own determination if there's damage or not. Okay, now there are times where they're going to deny a claim that should not be denied, in which case the contractor who's representing you is going to do what's called a supplement. They're going to build up some supporting evidence, send it into your insurance company and say, oh, no, this should be covered and here's why, in which case your insurance company is going to go back and forth, and then they're going to either say, you're right, let's do this, or they're going to say, nope, I still don't see it. Okay, now if they say, nope, I still don't see it, you got some options still. It's not all said and done at this point. We can do what's called hiring a PA, a public adjuster. They're not actual attorneys, but they act like attorneys when it comes to trying to get more coverage from your insurance company, or at least get the coverage that you deserve on your property. And that process can take quite a long time. I've seen some that take a year or more just to get through that process. So understand that when you open up a claim, there's going to be a little bit of back and forth. There's going to be a little bit of communication back and forth between the contractor and the insurance company, maybe the supplementing team in the insurance company, maybe a public adjuster in the insurance company. There's a lot of people trying to pull for you to get this covered for you. And every single time that we have to elevate this to another level, it's going to take a little bit longer to get it covered. Okay? So there's that first part. Let's say that everything gets covered. The insurance company is going to issue the check. We've talked about that in another video. And they're going to tell you what all they're covering. And then we're going to get the work done. And then once we do that, we're going to invoice the insurance company again. They're going to either release that check right away, or they're going to come back and say, hey, some of these numbers don't add up. Why do I see it this way? Or why did you invoice it that way? And there's going to be a little bit further communication between the insurance company and the contractor. So again, that process can take a little bit longer. We go back to what I said in the beginning of the video. Remember that some insurance companies, they want to drag this out, okay? So they might actually drag it out, and it's up to the contractor to be able to fight for you in an efficient way and try to get this covered as quickly as possible. So on the insurance side, they have a lot of people that's involved in the office, just looking over all the information, looking over all the damage, looking over all of the invoices that the contractor is sending in, communication with you, communication with the contractor, maybe even communication with your mortgage company if you have one of those. If your house is through a mortgage, they might be in communication with them as well. So there's a lot of people that are involved with getting this project from the start to the finish. So it's not always going to be real quick. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit of time. So as a contractor, we ask that you just be patient, check in all the time. If you haven't heard from your contractor in a little while, check in with them and just see, hey, have you heard anything? Most of the time, the insurance company is going to reach out to you as the homeowner before they reach out to the contractor, even if you have that representation agreement in place. Reason being is they likely know that you don't know much about your claim, and they want to maybe drag their feet, maybe drag it out a little bit. So just keep that in mind. Stay in touch with your contractor, stay in touch with the insurance agent, and every chance you get, make sure that the insurance agent is aware that your contractor is representing you. There may be times where your contractor says, hey, insurance company's not listening to me. Despite the fact that we have an agreement together and you give me permission, they still just aren't listening to me. So your contractor might coach you on how to have a better conversation with your insurance agency or with the adjuster, because they're more likely to be receptive to you asking for something than maybe the contractor asking for something. So just stay in communication with your contractor so that you can kind of get through this process a little bit quicker, and understand that sometimes it does take a little bit of time.